Alright, what is up everybody? Louis back here again to break down UFC Vegas 45, the last card of the year unfortunately. About a month off, but you know, hell of a year, so can't really complain too much. It'll go by pretty quickly. Quick recap of UFC 269, did pretty well, 7-2. But the ones I got wrong, I got the big ones wrong. I got Garbrandt and Car France wrong. I was back and forth on that, and you know, I thought Cody might be able to use his weight and wear on him throughout the fight, but nah, dude. Car France got him out of there early, wanted a gunfight. And then, you know, I didn't know how hard Kai hit. He hits pretty hard, so I got that one right. I'm sorry, I got that one wrong. It sucks, because originally I did pick Kai, and then I changed it last minute, so that was a tough one, but it is what it is. And then, you know, obviously Nunes and Pena, you know, because I've bet on the underdogs before, like Megan Anderson, and, you know, it's the same story every time, but Amanda just looked disinterested to me, and to be honest, I don't think she really trained, but good for Juliana Pena. She did what she said she was going to do, weathered the first tough round, and just didn't quit, and, you know, dared to get into a gunfight with Amanda Nunes, and she won, so congrats to her. And then, you know, Oliveira, I had that one. First round didn't look too good for him, but he came back and did his thing the next two rounds. Yeah, you know, his ability to take damage is underrated, and it's one of his biggest assets. And then, you know, Sean O'Malley was kind of worried about that one, but, you know, flying colors on there. And then Dominic Cruz getting done against Munoz. That was another tight one I was worried about. Looked really good. You know, got dropped first round, came back. Overall, that was a great card. This card, Saturday, like I said, last card before 2022, looks good, man. Pretty fun card. The main event, you got Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, taking on Chris Daukaus. You know, big spot for Chris Daukaus. And then, you know, Lewis needs to get back on track, and it's going to say a lot about his career. And then you got Cub Swanson coming out. Cub Swanson doing the damn thing again, taking on Darren Elkins. And then you got a big spot here. Stephen Thompson taking on Bilal Muhammad, Wonder Boy. Can he beat a young buck like Bilal Muhammad? And Bilal Muhammad, you know, can he become an elite welterweight? So that's an interesting matchup for me. Then you got Angela Hill doing the thing again. You know, she's been around for a while. And then you got the low-key banger, I think. You got Diego Ferreira taking on Matthias Gamrat. Ferreira was once a promising prospect, lost a couple, and then Gamrat, you know, he's a surging prospect, so this is a good test. Ferreira just lost to Gillespie, but looked good in the first round of that fight. And then Gamrat, you know, just submitted Jeremy Stevens in the first round, so it should be fun. Decent spots, a lot of close spots, some big underdogs I got to take, which I don't really like, but, you know, that's how it goes. Pretty excited. Let's get into it here. The feature fight on the prelims, you got heavyweight, you got Justin Tafa taking on Harry Hunsucker. Very low-level heavyweight fight here. Justin Tafa, from his fight against Jared Vanderaa, I noticed he stalked forward, and he liked to close the distance with a straight right to the body, and then he got into the clinch. But then, you know, he would eat hooks on the way in, and then he just kind of rushed in with hooks, got a little emotional, just kind of threw to throw. And then he gets pressed back with the jabs, and then he stands in the pocket, kind of gunfights, and, you know, Vanderaa was beating him. He was hitting him with those straight shots. And then the second round, he ate a head kick at range, but then he slips straight shots, and he's able to land a short left hook, so he's able to slip and rep a little bit there. But then he loses in the firefight, and then he eats some hard straight shots. So, you know, if you're a precision puncher, you're going to beat him there. And then he only throws hooks in the pocket, really. Then doesn't uppercut or anything, just kind of bangs. Then in the third round, he eats some straights, and he works it inside with his hooks. Then he walks into some hooks in the pocket, but then he starts pressing and landing hooks toward the end of the fight, too little, too late, and you know, just kind of caught up, just trying to throw those hooks and throw those power shots. Doesn't really take his time. That's what I got from that fight. And then Harry Hunsucker took on Tai Tuivasa, his last fight. Tai Tuivasa, forgot to mention, he got a big win over Sakai, big ranked win for him, so good for him. But you know, quick fight. He gets pressed by Tai, and he just fires back, lunges forward with his hooks, a little off balance. Then he eats some leg kicks, and he swings wild hooks, kind of like Tafa. And then he eats a counter, overhand right, and then just gets TKO'd. Harry Hunsucker just kind of bites down and throws, you know, do or die in the first round, really. More like the first couple minutes. to be honest. I don't know if he can go a whole round with his cardio. But take a look at the betting odds. Hunsucker plus 260, Taffa minus 335. And, you know, this is a close one. I do think Taffa is more skilled, but, you know, low-level heavyweight fight. Big difference in the lines here and the prices. And, you know, I don't think Harry Hunsucker's good. I don't think Justin Taffa's that good either. What it comes down to is I'm not paying minus 300 for Justin Taffa. I'm just not doing it. I don't care. Harry Hunsucker's got a chance, especially at heavyweight. That's the biggest puncher's chance in the heavyweight division. That's when it's going to happen. That's when you're going to knock somebody the fuck out. Harry Hunsucker sucks. Sorry. I know he beat my ass, but, you know, he's not good. And all he has is power shots, but it's heavyweight, low level, plus 260. My pick here is Harry Hunsucker. Moving on to the co-main event of the prelims at 135 bantamweight, you got Ronny Barcelos taking on UFC newcomer Victor Henry. Should be a banger here. Barcelos took on Timur Valiev his last fight. First round, I noticed he bouncing forward, then he eats some jabs, and then he lands a lunge forward with his uppercut, and then he used that to get the clinch on the fence. And then he lands some leg kicks, and he's able to return some jabs from Valiev. But the story of this fight, Valiev just kind of outpointing him, basically, just doing more activity. Barcelos definitely had more powerful shots, though. And then he gets touched more at range by Valiev. Then he's able to touch him. And then he gets clinched to the fence toward the end. The second round, he presses forward, and he blasts a straight right, but he misses. But you can tell it's powerful. But, you know, swings big. If he's not hitting, you know, he's going to use more energy in the fight. But then he eats some straight shots at range. But then he looks to counter with his uppercut and hooks. And then he's able to defend a single from Valiev. And he eats a right cross, and he's throwing wide hooks. But then he lands an uppercut at range, and he rocks him with a short left hook. And then he's able to drop him with the counter left when Valiev's pressing forward, getting a little overzealous, and then he lands some heavy ground and pound, and then he lets him up and drops him again with the uppercut. So he drops him twice toward the end of the round there. Really good round for Barcelos. But he kind of takes his foot off the gas in the third a little bit, stuffs his shot, and he lands an uppercut. Stands at range, but he backs out of the jab range. But then he eats a step in 1-2 from Valiev, and then he able to defend the double on the fence. Takedown defense pretty good from what I've seen. Then he starts walking into shots, but he lands a spinning back fist. But then he lands the counter left hook in an exchange. But then, you know, he just gets out volume. The story of that fight, just a little too late. Had a really good second round, but you know, he's definitely alive though. You know, definitely has that power. And then Victor Henry, he took on Masanori, Kanahara, and Risen, I believe. And it was kind of hard for me to find fight tape. I apologize. I didn't see it on Fight Pass, so I just found what I could on YouTube. It was a couple fights ago, not too long ago. First round, he pumps leg kicks from the outside, but his leg kick gets countered with the 1-2 from Masanori. And then he eats jabs at range, but he presses with straight shots, but he gets doubled, and then he gets his back taken. And from what I've noticed, his takedown defense is his weakness, and his grappling isn't the best. And Barcelos has decent grappling, doesn't always use it, but if he has to, I think he'll be able to get him down on the ground. Second round, he throws head kicks, and then he lands a left hook, then he throws the left hook, but he doesn't hit it. But then he anticipates the double, and he stuffs it, so catching on there a little bit. And then he gets in the clinch, and then he break out of that, presses forward with the overhand rights, and then he's able to get the knockout. And then he throws the right with and then he lands a front kick over his jab, which is another thing I noticed from him in that round. Before that, he's able to land that front kick over Manasori's jab, so he's able to keep range. Decent ring IQ, I would say, from what I saw out of him. But take a look at the betting lines: plus 260 for Henry, minus 335 for Ronny Barcelos. And Victor Henry, he doesn't look like he hits hard, but he does, and he kind of picks the perfect shot. And Barcelos kind of just swings wildly, but they both have power. But it's a tough one, man. Victor Henry's 34. I don't really care about age, but just making his UFC debut now, so it's a little concerning for me. But I don't know. They both got power. Henry, one thing's for sure: if you get him down on the ground, Barcelos is really gonna have his way with him there. Who knows we just haven't seen much of Henry, man. And I really, it's a good price for him. And I don't like the price on Barcelos, but, Barcelos was close against Valley. It was a competitive fight. Valley was pretty tough. Don't really know, but I hate the price. It's one of them things. You just gotta put the money down, My pick here is Ronny Barcelos. On to the main event of the prelims, and you got a banger, I think, at least banger of the prelims. You got Dustin Stolfus taking on Gerald Meerschaert at 185 middleweight. And, Gerald Meerschaert had a tough go at things recently, but he's turned it around. He had, came back and was able to take some shots in his last fight against Muradov and come back and get the submission victory, and then submitted Farbinski, and it looked really tough because he got knocked out by Gamrat in like 30 seconds, and the narrative is his chin sucks, and yeah, his chin isn't the greatest. He gets rocked, he gets hurt, but you know what? If he can stay alive long enough, then he can kind of shake it off and get a second win. So just gotta watch out for that, and don't count him out yet. Dustin Stolfus took on Rodolfo Vieira his last fight. In the first round, he was able to pump the jab, and he presses forward, but he ate a 1-2 while he was moving forward in the pocket. But then he lands a right over Vieira's jab, and then he steps in, rips the body. And then in the second round, he gets doubled to the fence, and then he gets taken down immediately from there. But then he gets his back taken, but he's able to get out of there. And just kept moving, which I liked. And he gets pressed at range with a jab from Rodolfo. But then in the third round, he gets doubled from space, and he throws a desperate guillotine from the bottom, but he doesn't get it. Kind of hard to get that high level. But then he tries to get back up, but he gets his back taken in the rear naked choke backpack position, and that's how they end the round. And just kind of got out grappled there. And Meerschaert is a pretty good grappler. So that's one thing that's his advantage there, is the grappling. And Stolfus just got submitted. So, and then Gerald Meerschaert, he took on Magomed Muradov his last fight. In the first round, stalks forward, he chases him, and he gets dropped with 1-2. Not the best game plan right there, but recovers. And then he gets pressed, and he eats hooks and head kicks, and then he's able to press with his hands down, and he eats some overhands from Muradov. But he presses forward and lands a counter left over Muradov straight, and then he lands an overhand left, and he's able to rock him. But then he eats some overhands coming in, but he knows he can take them. And Muradov's hurt at this point, and then he lands a left, and then he gets the clinch, and he's able to get to his back to end the first round. Definitely lost the first round, but big comeback from him there. Looked really good at the end of it. And then in the second round, he eats overhand right, but he presses forward, stays on the outside, lands some overhand lefts. And then he clinches, and he passes the arm by, and he's able to get around his back and get the rear naked choke submission. And like I said, just kind of outlast him there, ate some shots. He might eat some unnecessary shots, but, his chin held up. He won the fight, got through the first round. Meerschaert minus 225, Stolfus plus 185. Don't like the money, Meerschaert's chin you got to be worried about, but I didn't see Stolfus hit that hard, to be honest, and, he gets his back taken, and Meerschaert just got a rear naked choke. It is what it is. Got to lay some money down here. My pick here is Gerald Meerschaert. All right, first fight on the main card. You got the legend Cub Swanson taking on Darren the Damage Elkins here at 145. Should be a fun one. Darren Elkins, if he wins, big name. Get a big push. Cub Swanson, if he wins, over a tough guy, he's still in this thing. He's going to stick around for a little bit longer. Swanson took on Daniel Pineda his last fight. In the first round, he bounces outside and stepped in with a right hook, but he misses. Then he's eating some leg kicks at range, but then he's able to close the distance with the left and right hook. And then he lands a 1-2, and then he kind of steps back, just kind of stays at range, kind of tries to make reads. But then he catches the low kick, and able to catch a low kick and try to take him down there, and then he's able to get full guard and rolls through the double leg. And then he lands some straight, back on the feet, he lands some straight rights, and he drops him with the 1-2. Then he's able to close the distance with some hooks to the body and the round, which I really like. The body work is always good to see. And then the second round, he closes distance, lands straight left, and he rushes forward and lands a straight right. And then he's able to defend the double leg on the fence. And then he lands uppercuts and rights, and then just gets the knockout, and just keeps going. and able to work in some grappling there. You know, just stay up, stay at range, be smart with your shots, don't get clipped, and he can get it done, man. He still looks pretty good, relatively fast, so, and I think he'll probably look good in that fight. And then Darren Elkins, he took on Derek Minner his last fight. First round, not a good round for him. Comes forward, lands a left hook, but then he eats shot as he's chasing the double, and then he gets put in guillotine. But then he's able to get the double at the end of it. And then he tries to get the crucifix position on him, but he gets reversed. But he gets into a scramble, but then he gives his back and needs some hard ground and pound. And, you know, definitely clear win for Elkins there. Kind of dominated him. Sorry, clear win for Minner there, kind of dominated him, but the damage Elkins always comes alive in the second round. Second round, lands left hook, but he gets doubled, but then he's able to get out of the guillotine attempt, and then he's able to get on top, and then he gets into the half guard, just starts landing some nasty ground and pound, and then he tries to get the hooks in around the back, but he's able to get the knockout from the back position instead of going for the choke, which is nice. Some guys, you know, they don't think about to do that. They go for the rear naked choke and waste a lot of time. Darren Elkins plus 160, Cub Swanson minus 190. Tough one here, but I like Darren Elkins. I like the plus money on him. You know, Cub Swanson, you know, I don't know, man. Taking a lot of damage in his career. Darren Elkins takes a lot of damage, but he comes back in the second couple rounds. It's a tough one here, but I really don't like land minus 190 on Cub Swanson. My pick here is Darren Elkins. I think he'll be able to come on strong in rounds 2 and 3. Okay, on to the second fight of the main card, lightweight 155. I think this is low-key going to be the best fight of the card. That's what I'm looking forward to. You know, both guys trying to break into the top 10 here, so those are kind of the best fights sometimes because, you know, they're really close to being in that upper echelon. You got Diego Ferreira taking on Matthias Gamrat. Ferreira took on Gregor Gillespie's last fight. Looked really good the first round. He just backs up, stays away from him, throws 1-2s, and then he closes distance with the jabs and looks for the step in 1-2. But then he lets his hands down at range, and then he gets single legged by Gillespie, and Gillespie's just a goddamn monster with those takedowns. And then he gets his back taken, but then he's able to roll through with the foot, and then he's able to get up, which is really good to see. Pretty good, you know, defense there because Gillespie's a monster on top. And then he gets pressed, and then he lands a straight left, and then he lands a 4-punch combination, and then he just kind of resets, backs out of range, goes in and out, doesn't want to get taken down. And then he lands some hammer fists whenever Gregor's on a single, and they're pretty hard hammer fists. Then he uses the overhook and the underhooks to sprawl, just keeps that over, and then he's in the seatbelt position, and Gregor's actually kind of defending, so it's really good to see from him. And then Gregor slides off of Diego's back, and then Diego's able to get the back and get the hooks in, and then just, you know, finish the round on top pretty strong there. I definitely took the first round in my opinion, went back and forth, but he got it. But, you know, cardio starts to wear on him, but he's fighting Gregor Gillespie, who's a cardio machine, so kind of hard to tell, but definitely gets tired second round. Second round presses with the 1-2s again, and then he gets back, resets, but then he gets shot on from space. And then he's able to pull his leg out and get away. But then he uses the Kimura to sweep. And then when he gets taken down, and then he gets on his back, but he falls off. And then Gillespie's able to get on top there, and then just goes to work on him. Just doesn't let him breathe, getting half guard. And then he's able to get the back, and then just gets TKO'd from ground and pound from behind, and with like 10 seconds left. Tough one, but, you know, he just ran out of gas. You could tell whenever he took him down that he just wasn't trying to get up again, and that was that. But Gillespie's a monster, but he looked pretty good for the first round. And then Matthias Gamrat took on Scott Holtzman. I mean, before his last fight, he took on Stevens. Real quick submission victory. You know, but he took on Scott Holtzman. He gets some more data from this fight. Stalks forward, pumps a jab to the body. And then he feints the left hook, and then he dives on this low single, but he doesn't get it, and then he lands a right hook. But then he gets clipped with the uppercut from Holtzman. You know, Holtzman has some power people don't really think about. But then he gets pressed, and then he's able to shoot the low single once Holtzman's moving forward. And then he switches off to a double, gets the takedown, and then he lands a hard punch off of the break. And then in the second round, he's in and out with a jab, and then he shoots a single, and then he shoots whenever Scott throws his hook. And then he able to get the round on the back from standing position, and then separate. But then just kind of out in the pocket, he drops him with the 1-2, and then just gets the TKO, just kind of out of nowhere. Whenever Scott's coming in, lands the 1-2. Really nice, good combination of hands and takedowns. Really good prospect in my opinion. Matthias is minus 180. Diego Ferreira is plus 155. Ferreira definitely has a shot here. I think he might look good the first round, but I think the second and the third round, or even the second half of the second round of the third round, is going to be all Matthias. Matthias might be able to get a finish. The price isn't terrible, a little high, but my pick here is Matthias Gamrat. Then third fight on the main card at 135 bantamweight. You got a banger here. This might be my actual other favorite. I might have two favorites, but this is a fun fight, big spot. You got Raphael Assuncao taking on Ricky Simón. A huge spot for Ricky, and then Raphael Assuncao, if he can win, he can fend off another young buck and stay around in the division. Assuncao, he hasn't fought in a while. He's been on a bit of a layoff. June 2020, took on Cody Garbrandt. In the first round, he stalks at range and he pumps the jab, and then lands the head kick at range. But then he presses forward, eats a straight right, and then he fires the hook back, but he misses. Then he lands a short right off of the blitz from Cody, and then he chases Cody, but he stays at range. He won't ever actually go past him, so he just kind of stalks him, but stays at range so he can't get hit. Very, very tentative type of fighter. But then the second round, he gets the spin kick, and he gets caught, and Cody takes him down for a sec, but then Cody lets him back up and he eats a knee from there, and then he fires the counter combination as Cody throws, but then he lands a leg kick, and then he resets at range, but then he gets dropped with a straight right from Cody, just standing at range there, let his guard down, and then back up, he stands at range, and then he fires a straight right. A lot of you probably seen it. Cody's against the fence literally 1 second ago, dips down to his shoelaces and knocks him out with the right hook, and that was that. But honestly, Assuncao didn't really do much. That's what I got from that. Kind of didn't really want to engage with him. Stays at range a lot. So then Ricky Simón took on Brian Kelleher his last fight. Very good win for him. Brian Kelleher, tough guy. That's not in the top 15, but he's right there. First round, lands hooks, and then he backs off in and out, and then he lands double jabs, and then he ducks, and he's able to get the double leg. But then he stays around the back, and he gets the claw, and then he's able to move in a half guard, kind of like a Turk. Then he gets a single on the fence, and then just take him down again. To keep him down, Ricky's not giving any free takedowns. But they get back on the feet, and he stalks and waits for Brian to plant so he can throw, and then that's when he shoots a double. So he's looking forward to being strategic about the timing of it, which is really good to see. And then the second round, he steps forward and jabs, and then an overhand, and lands overhand right through Brian's guard. But then he backs up, eats a couple front face kicks. They weren't super hard, but definitely hit him. But then he eats a front kick, but he's able to get the single. And then he lands some kicks, but then then Kelleher lands some kicks on him, but he's able to get the blast double, and then back up on the feet. And Kelleher was decent getting up relatively quickly. And Ricky kind of at some point just kind of let him up, like not automatically, but didn't want to just use all his energy trying to keep him down there just for him to get up anyway. So pretty good mixture there from Ricky. Knew when to hold him and want to let him go. And then he's pulling him, making him come forward into left hook, and then he lands a right cross to end the round. Then in the third round, he's out of range from his hooks, and then he gets a clinch on the fence, and then he gets a double leg, and he defends the Kimura, and then he's able to get the slide by, and then he's able to take his back, and then just controls him on the ground, nothing crazy. Then he gets free, and then he eats some front kicks at range to end the fight, but doesn't engage in a firefight with Kelleher, who has some power. So pretty smart victory from him, but he doesn't just land prey. He's working, so good mixture there from Ricky Simón. I like him, good prospect. Ricky Simón minus 280, Raphael Assuncao plus 225. Assuncao hasn't fought in a year and a half. He's older. He just got knocked out. Ricky Simón, budding prospect. You're really good with the takedowns. I hate the price, but it's another one I'm really confident. Ricky Simón, I like this guy. He's taken his lumps before. He's learned. So my pick here is Ricky Simón. All right, the feature fight of the main card at women's strawweight 115. You got Amanda Lemos taking on Angela Hill. Lemos, another budding prospect, a surging contender trying to get there and then win over Angela Hill with the name value and top veteran like her that'll get her there. And Angela Hill, lost to Tisha Torres, good fun fight, but you know she's looking for a win here, and it would be good. She can stick around, beat a prospect like Lemos. Lemos took on Montserrat Ruiz her last fight. Not really much to this fight. First round, Ruiz comes forward on the center line, and then Lemos lands jabs. She's coming forward, and then lands a head kick, and then Ruiz presses, and she gets a straight right knockout. And that was that. Lemos, pretty picture shots well. And then before that, she took on Livia Souza. In the first round, she stalks forward, lands a jab and a 1-2 at range against the fence. Then she lands a head kick and then some jabs. Always popping that jab, staying at range, not walking in any powerful shots. And then she drops her with the overhand right at range and then lands some ground and pound. And then back on the feet, she knocks her out with a jab, just kind of walks her down, presses her to the fence, and gets a knockout with a jab. Really good performance from her, 2 good performances from her. And then Angela Hill took on Tisha Torres, her last fight in August. In the first round, she presses with the jab, but she gets countered with a kick, and then she eats a body and leg kicks as she's entering on Tisha. But then she catches the kick, and then she foot sweeps her to the mat. But Tisha has a leg lock on the fence. Then she kind of just lets it go. But then she eats a overhand and a combination at range, and then she just kind of stands there, like she'll just stand there when she'll have a second of inactivity, and then that's when Tisha will land on her. So she doesn't really move out of the way sometimes. And then second round, she's able to land a straight right, but then Tisha was able to counter her, and then she's able to circle out whatever Angel's throwing on her, and then she catches the teep kick, and then she gets around her back, but can't really get anything. But it's still nice to see that she's catching kicks and trying to grapple a little bit, slow the pace down a little bit, and then she walks forward, and then she walks her down, but then she gets head kicked, kind of walking down with her hands down a little bit, honestly, and then she counters and lands a straight left, and then toward the end of the fight, Tisha misses the spin kick, and she's able to throw her hips in and get on top, and she's able to get the mount and land some ground and pound. Nice ground and pound, great position for her. Problem is, there's only 10 seconds left, and I think she still lost that round, so it sucks, but, she's capitalizing on those opportunities, which is huge because, Lemos throws something spinning, middle of the round, she could steal that round, so that's really good that she's looking for this. And then in the third round, she walks her down, then eats hooks and straight shots, and then she tries, and then whenever she firefights, but she's losing in his firefights usually. Tisha lands 1 or 2 more shots, and then she's able to get out of the blitz from Tisha, and she's able to pump her jab. But then Tisha comes forward and blitzes again and hits her with a couple shots, and then she's able to change levels whenever Tisha rushes, tries to shoot for the double, but she's not able to get it. But still, like I said, just looking for those opportunities to get to the ground or at least get a clinch and slow it down. And then toward the end, she eats a hook, and then she gets double leg toward the end of the fight, taken down, and can't really do much from there. But good competitive fight from her. A little reckless at times. I like she's looking for the takedowns, but can't really control her. But, if she gets a double, she'll be able to, I think that can steal around there, so that's huge. Angela Hill, plus 245. Amanda Lemos, minus 310. Lemos is really good, very powerful, 2 knockouts. I think she might be the better fighter than Angela Hill, but the price on her, I don't like that price at all. Angela Hill's a tough veteran. She's seen a lot. She can go the distance, no problem. She's been in 5-round fights. It's kind of cliche, but you gotta look at it like that. Angela Hill's tough. She can hit hard, and like I said, she can get a clinch and slow it down, land some shots there. Plus 245. It's really good profit. My pick here is Angela Hill. All right, on to the co-main event. We got a very interesting matchup here at men's welterweight. You got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. Didn't see this one coming, but I'm intrigued. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight. Technical chess match, but it should be fun. Huge spot for Bilal. Stephen just signed that 6-fight deal, so he's going to have to beat a couple of these guys trying to get into top 8. So it should be fun, but huge opportunity for Bilal. And then Wonderboy wins. He's kind of right back there in the conversation. I would think so. Thompson took on Gilbert Burns his last fight. In the first round, circles on the outside, but eats some kicks, but not fully. He's able to get out of the way mostly. And then when he's at range, he sticks his lead leg out, and that's when Burns shoots a single then he shoots him to the fence, and then he's able to keep the overhook in the clinch, but then he finally gets taken down with the single, but he was fighting off for a long time. And then he gets put in a half guard, but he's able to use the fence to stand up. But whenever he does that all 3 rounds, I believe. Burns is able to land some short shots there on Steven on his way up. But, Steven, he knows you got to take some to stand up, and he knows if Gilbert's hitting him like that, he can't keep him down. So, Steven, he's tough, and he does what he needs to do to get to his feet. But then, he's able to use the underhooks, and he's able to break free. And then he lands some check hooks as Burns rushes forward, and then he's able to land a head kick at the end of the round. And then in the second round, he stays on the outside, throws side kicks, but he doesn't really land. But then he lands a spinning wheel kick at range. Then he eats a hard right from Burns that he's skirting on the fence. Then he blitzes forward, and then he's able to pull his leg away whenever Burns shoots on him. So he's getting hip to it now. And then he lands a right whenever they kind of crash together. Lands a short right. And then he eats a step in overhand right from Burns, and then he gets taken down when he's at range. Just kind of stands there for a split second. And, that's how they end the round. Burns is able to get those takedowns toward the end of the round and steal them. And then in the third round, he sidesteps and lands a straight right, and then a 1-2. And then he's able to drop Burns with a spinning wheel kick at range. And then he lands a flurry when he gets back up, kind of presses forward. But then back out of that position, he's in a wide stance, and he pumps his jab at range, but then he gets shot on with the single by Burns. Then he gets taken down with a body lock spin off the cage, spin trip kinda, and Burns just kind of steals that one again, just kind of rides him out for a while there. And Steven definitely had his moments, but it's that grappling. But Burns is one of the best grapplers, he's one of the best grapplers in the division, so. He couldn't even, it's not like he could take him down at will. He fought him off. So I thought Thompson made a good account of himself. And then Bilal Muhammad, he took on Damian Maia's last fight, but completely different style than Stephen Thompson. So before that, he took on Leon Edwards, ended early because of the eye poke, but he still got a good round of info in there. In the first round, he eats a step in 1-2, and then he gets clinched to the fence, and he gets rocked with the head kick at range after that. But then he's able to block the flurry from Edwards, and he's able to circle off the cage, and then he's able to land a body kick whenever Edwards is coming in. Then he lands a jab on the outside, but then he eats a counter 1-2 from Edwards. And then second round, he's able to start pressing, but then he throws a shot, but then he gets countered or he gets clinched. That's what I noticed throughout the fight. Like, Edwards would press him, then he would get his time to press, and he just kept getting countered, just a little too far out, in my opinion, So I saw, but I'm no expert. So you take a look at the line: Stephen Thompson minus 220, Bilal plus 180. Bilal might be able to clinch him up the whole fight, but I don't think so, man. I think Thompson looked really good against Burns. I think Burns is definitely a better grappler than Bilal. Obviously, anything can happen, but Bilal doesn't have power. The only chance he has is to clinch him the whole fight and squeak out a decision, maybe get a takedown. I don't think so. Stephen Thompson can actually get up, too. People think, like, he can. His defense is pretty good. So I think Stephen Thompson will be able to keep him on the outside, pick him apart, rush in, land some kicks on him. And I think Bilal just might be tentative the whole fight, to be honest with you. Minus 220, not a great price, but my pick here is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And then also, I like the fight goes the distance, minus 225. Pretty expensive, but, I really don't see these guys knocking each other out or submitting each other. So I like that one as well if you want to have another option. Now, on to the main event. You got Derek, the Black Beast Lewis, taking on Chris Daukaus. This is a fun one, man. I've had my eyes on Daukaus for a while, ever since he came on the scene last year. Fought a couple no-names, but he's knocking them out in quick fashion with the impressive hand speed. Then slowly start getting steps up in competition. Then he gets a win over Olenek, and then his last fight beats Shamil Abdurakhmonov, who, hadn't been active in a long time. So it's a good fight for him, good spot for him. Derek Lewis, he took on Cyril Gahn his last fight. In the first round, he steps with the head, throws the head kick immediately, but Cyril blocks it mostly. And then he's able to go toward the fence whenever he's trying to pull Gahn into him, trying to pull Gahn into his shots. He has his back toward the fence most, if not all, of the fight. And then he's moving forward with he he loads for his hooks, but Gone is able to circle out, and you know, you could Gone was able to tell whenever Derek was loading up on his shots, and then he slides in with the straight shot, but he eats a counter left from Gone. Then he eats a 1-2 at range, and then he tries to clinch off of Gone's kick, but he's not able to get it. And then he tries to jump knee to clinch, and he's able to get the clinch on the fence. But every time, Gone's just able to use over-unders and just circle out and reverse Derek on the clinch position every time. And then in the third round, he eats leg kicks. He's inching forward, but you know, Gone just kind of lights him up, and Derek seems content with taking him. And then he lands it over, and then he throws a nice overhand, but he's just too far away from Gone. And then Gone's able to jab him up, and then he eats a flurry, and then a flurry of uppercuts, and then he swings his hooks, but he gets countered by Gone, and Gone's just able to get the TKO against the fence right there. And you know, that's just Derek just being a little too tentative, really hoping that Gone would come and play his game, and Gone just stayed at perfect distance and was able to touch him up and was able to pick his shots, and that's what it was. And then Derek just too inactive, so. But it is what it is. Gone's a beast. And then Chris Daukaus took on Shamil Abdurakhimov his last fight. In the first round, he stalks forward, touches him, and he throws the uppercut, and then he pumps the jab, and he throws the overhand, but it gets blocked from Abdul. But then he just walks into the right hand, coming forward a little too overzealous. But then he's able to drop him with the leg kick, hits him right behind the knee, sweeps him, which is really good. And then back on the feet, he lands a straight right to the body, and then a lead left hook. That's what drops him right at the end. And it looked like it didn't even touch him. It looked like it was going to be a little short, but when you look close, it was perfect, right on the money, right on the chin there. Great way to end the first round. Definitely got that one. And then the second round, he presses with the 1-2, but then he eats a check left, but it's okay. You know, he needs some shots. And then he lands a short left hook flurry from him, and then he eats a jab, but then he lands a 1-2, and then he's just able to get the knockout. Just perfect 1-2. Knew he could take some shots, just couldn't, you know, because they weren't that powerful. Now, a little concerning going against Derek Lewis. You can't take his shots, but I think he knows that. I think it would take him a little more time to figure it out. You know, I think this would be a drawn-on fight. So, but take a look at betting line. Chris Daukaus -145, Derek Lewis +125. Pretty close heavyweights. Anything can happen, but this is high-level heavyweights. I like Chris Daukaus here. +125 isn't enough for me to wait the whole fight for Derek Lewis to throw something. I think Daukaus would be able to pressure him. He'll be tentative too. He won't just rush in there, but you know, his hand speed is, you know, like the hooks he was throwing against Shamil. It's just, he got him in so quick. And once he gets inside, man, he can really light you up. He can land 3-4 punch combinations. It's a close one, but my pick here is Chris Daukaus. I've had my eyes on him for a long time. He's always got the victory in the UFC. I like him. I don't see it going 5. It could, though. We'll see. But, and also, I think Daukaus is just a little bit quicker, and that's going to make a difference. He's a little bit smaller than Derek. But, you know, if Derek touches him, obviously. But I'm going to go with Daukaus. Close line here. And then the over 1.5 is -130. I think that's really good. Both these guys usually take a little bit to get going, so I'm surprised it was at 1.5. Probably because Daukaus' last fight ended before that, but I don't think either one of these guys are in any rush. So over 1.5 is good. I like that price there. All right, everybody, thanks for following me. Thanks for watching. Finally got a good win last weekend. You know, not the best year. I've had my ups and downs. We keep moving, man. You know, that's why I love MMA, because it's always going. Take a little bit of a break, but we're back January 15th, I believe. You got Calvin Kattar taking on Giga Chikadze. That's a good-ass fight, man. I'm already pumped for that one in some month away. So, and then you got Francis Ngannou taking on Cyril Gane. I mean, you know, it's going to be a fun 2022. But anyway, I appreciate it. Hopefully I won you guys some money this year. Hopefully I can win you some money Saturday. Just follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. If I can tweet some stuff out or recap the fights, or if you want to talk to me, hit me up, ask me some questions. I'm on there. Leave a comment down below, like, share, subscribe, please. You can show people you want to win a little bit of money, win one fight. You know, what the hell, Christmas coming up, might be able to win some money. But I appreciate all the support, guys. Should be a fun fight. Close out a great year, 2021, on to 2022. Let's get some money.